April now, as I said I would. I have some external pressures that are preventing me from like really making videos. You'll hear from me again tonight or this evening. I'm going to the big car show out in Boston, the New England Exposition or whatever it's called. Like, you know, the one that basically it travels down the eastern seaboard and slowly matriculates, I think, across the country. So it's like the car show with like all the new like 2026 cars and stuff that I go to every. It used to be January and now they've moved it to April, which is cool in the sense that you know, it's warmer for one thing. Even though today is a bit overcast and not as good, it's like 57 degrees. You can see my thermometer there on my dashboard. But yeah, so today it's like 57 degrees. Not terrible, but it's not like shorts weather. I mean, I guess I could make it shorts weather, but you know, meeting up with a couple friends out here, gonna grab a bite afterwards, maybe watch the Lakers and Wolves game at a nice bar afterward. You know, just make a day of it. This has been I guess a weekend of fun, probably at the wrong time. Yesterday, I escorted a friend to basically her business or her work colleague's husband's 40th birthday party. Those of you that are like, you know, friends with me on Instagram, you'll see it in my story, and I'll eventually archive it so you can see it. I don't post as much anymore in terms of like regular posts because I've noticed across the board, unless you're like really popular, it's not heavily watched. I get more views actually on my stories than I do on regular posts. Like I would put up like comic books, and you know, sometimes I get my requisite like 50 views or so. Not that it's 4 views, really. It's supposed to be kind of like a personal album, but then, you know, it's kind of slow to a trickle. But I've noticed that as well for other people. So, but like events, like, you know, birthdays, things like that, you'll get some love. It's amazing how with like social media, it's a lot of times kind of like an indication of how like popular you are in your day-to-day life. But I'm grateful for my page. I have a, you know, nice followed ratio, and it's fine. You know, I'm grateful for it. But at the same time, I recognize I'm not gonna put up like I don't know if intimate's the right word, but like, you know, personal, not so much private, but like personal posts of, you know, nice times I've had or whatever, just to get like 10 views or whatever. But yeah, so heading out to Boston, my hometown, the Boston Seaport. Not the Seaport in particular, but that's where the show is. I grew up in Dorchester. But yeah, it's should be a good time. Meet up with a couple friends, and then back to regular life. So you're probably wondering, like, why is it not the right time? Well, I'm in the middle of finals. So I have my property law final on Wednesday, and then the Wednesday after that, like, you know, the next week, I guess Sunday is the start of the week, right? I have my constitution law, which is the figures to be a doozy. That's just a tough class, or at least for me it has been. But if the rest of my classmates are any indication, it's been tough for them as well. But so far so good. I'm like, you know, grades are fine. It looks like I'm in lawyer writing 2 just wrapped up last week. Still waiting for my final memo grade. As of right now, I'm hovering in that like kind of like B- range, but the final memo is 40%, so that can make me or break me. And just for the record, in law school, essentially, right, so to be able to continue the program, you need like a 2.3, which sounds, anyone can get a 2.3. Well, that's a C+, right? So in other words, like a C plus B minus is essentially like, if you're below that, that's like an F, right? You get dismissed. So, and there are teachers that will, like, I had a friend, she got like a D plus on the con law midterm, and the final's 80% of the grade, right? We've only really completed 20%. So, you know, I have people ask me like, oh, how'd you do it? I'm like, I'll let you know in a month, because so much of the grade is backloaded. For property law, the final is 60%, and to this point, I probably have a B. So again, the final is going to make me or break me. I would be very happy with like straight B's in my classes, but we'll see. Depending on how I do on the finals, it can go either way. And you know, on the final memo, which for lawyer writing, it was had to do with it's a famous case, Tinker, and then you can also look up Fraser. Just put those in. It's like, it's a longer name, but but basically these are like First Amendment cases with kids that protested in high school, and it kind of, you know, presses up against the question of how much of your First Amendment rights do you retain once you enter, you know, high school corridors. And then obviously, you know, the principal and the teachers have a vested interest in mitigating any significant or potentially significant disruption in school, because obviously people are there to learn. So it was like a landmark case, like and both of them were in the late 60s, like within pretty close window of each other. And then there's been subsequent others, like for the research report that adjoined it. Sorry, I don't want to bore you. There's like a bunch of others, like, you know, like Defoe and Giles. If you look them up, they should come right up. Like if you look them up in Lexis or Westlaw, they're very famous, like seminal cases. Anyway, how's the year been so far? We're past Q1. It sucked. I mean, school's fine. Work is like ever changing. So we just laid off 150 people. I still have a job. My division's like a loss leader, so we're pretty, not because we're a loss leader, but we're pretty necessary. So obviously, like if a department's a loss leader, we don't really make any money for the company, but that usually means that you reinforce somewhere along the chain of like customer service or training. And I basically do both, but more like training. So I train the reps on our financial software so they can go out and make the money. I'm licensed like a stockbroker. You know, I got my it's been a while now, so I forgot what they are. 663, 724, and 66. So I'm essentially a stockbroker, but I'm back office. Undercompensated for what I do, but you know, in all things give thanks. I'm just happy to have a job and be able to live a first world lifestyle. But one of my colleagues who actually she made it off the cutting room floor, so she didn't get laid off, but it was like laid off adjacent, like they moved her to a different department. But lucky for her, the salary is basically the same, and she told me her salary, and yeah, she definitely makes significantly more than me. Like her base is what I make all in, and then plus she makes another $35,000 in terms of her commissions and stuff. But it's fine, you know, no jealousy or anything. I actually like her. Like she's a friend outside of work too. So yeah, you know, Big Gizmo in the previous video, you know, it can always get worse, and it did. You know, I had after that, basically at the end of the month, like I think it was January 22nd, oh nice RS6. That's pissing. It's my favorite wagon. I know that the Mercedes like E63 AMG wagon is technically a better vehicle, but that's nice. He's got the right rims on it too. And yeah, so January 22nd, I had a very tough conversation. I can't get into the details. I know Big Gizmo is like, oh, you always say that and you never get back to it. I will at some point, but it's now's not the time. Let's just say it appears I'm on the verge of, like, if it hasn't already happened, of you know, losing the love of my life. But you know, what are you gonna do? You know, you do the best you can, and at this point, it is in God's hands fully, right? So as much as we always say that, and we frantically try to do whatever we can to you know, quicken the pace, or you know, steer things in our direction, or whatever, you know, tilt the fortunes, whatever, you know, analogy you want to put to it, or trite saying or whatever. But it truly is now in God's hands. Not really anything else I can do. While at the same time, you know, I have my regular life to contend with, you know, as far as school, and staying on the good side of my manager, who doesn't necessarily like me, but like we're also not like fully at odds, right? So we're fine. Like I'm not on the radar where, like, you know, she's looking for me, whatever. But at any moment that can pop off. So I got to be on my P's and Q's. And we have a bunch of new software that they're just piling on our plate. And one of my colleagues, we'll just call him K, you know, we talk behind the scenes, and then our team lead M, you know, we're all like, all right, so they're adding all this responsibility and they're not like giving us a proper raise. Like at bonus time last month, like raises and bonuses were laughable, relatively speaking. My suspicion is that they'll have to, because there is just so much they're adding. Like, you know, our signature software is MoneyGuide Pro. It's a retirement software, but they're adding like eMoney, Right Capital, ATS, like was it Advanced Time Segmentation, and I'm probably missing another one. In addition to like the fee for service stuff, so they're pushing us into the arena of the reps basically putting the clients on like a subscription basis in terms of you know, financial advice, and we have to like know all of that. So that, in addition, imagine switching gears where there's like all this new just stuff on your plate, and then, you know, promptly at 6 p.m. you got to go into the classroom, you know, whether it's physically or virtually or whatever, and then go and learn, you know, constitution law or property law. And this summer, assuming I make the cut and I keep my scholarship and all that, I have mergers and acquisitions. I have evidence, I believe, and I forget the third class. I literally just selected them like a couple days ago. I think it's professional responsibility. So, which is like a heavy lift. Usually in the summers, the program's made where you just take 2. I'm gonna do 3 because I'm in a crappy period of life anyway. So you might as well just make it productive and get as much done as you can without, you know, overwhelming yourself. So yeah, that's life. Otherwise, you know, mom and aunt are healthy, you know, they're alive. My cousins are doing well. In early February, my cousin, the one that got divorced, which, funny enough, his ex-wife, we just texted just a moment ago before I went on air, as it were. Today's her birthday, and we're fine. Like, my cousin's fine with that or whatever. As a matter of fact, we just had a long conversation the other day because, as you know, in a lot of, like, you know, divorce situations, the relationship with the child, they can be leveraged and it can get weird or whatever. So we're kind of talking about that. So in a lot of ways, I'm kind of like the liaison. Like, she likes me and I try to like smooth things out or whatever. But anyway, my cousin, he had a baby girl like a couple months ago in February. If you are friends with me on Instagram, you'll see photos with me and with she and I, or me and her, in my like archive stories. She's such a cutie. And we have a lot of fun. She comes by on Sundays, like after church, and we hang out for a little bit before I go to the gym. So yeah, that's been life lately. Very heavy heart. I sometimes wonder, more than sometimes, I wonder, because, you know, I'm already 45, right? I wonder if, like, you know, they say like boiling a frog, which, you know, is actually not true. The frog will hop out of the boiling water even if you raise the temperature gradually. But, you know, the old wives' tale of, like, you know, you boil a frog and it doesn't realize that it's being boiled. I wonder if I'm in the middle of just of life, just doing life alone, more or less, which is a scary proposition. But as I always say, you know, in all things, give thanks. Just happy to be healthy and be, I guess, in some ways thriving, but in some important ways not. But yeah, we'll chat in a little bit. I'll show you some cool cars and stuff and my ridiculous banter. But anyway, the Lord is faithful. Stay with me. God bless.